Hi guys, Jane here, and today I'm doing a book review of Einstein's Beach House stories by Jacob M. Appel. And I did receive this book from a Library Things giveaway, and it was sent to me by the author. That doesn't change my review or how I feel about the book, but I did want to let you know. If you watch my TBR, it was the book I opened, so very excited to have it and grateful to the author for sending it to me. This is a collection of short stories, and I will say they were kind of loosely connected and not as thematic as I would have liked. I don't read a ton of short stories. I sometimes find I don't get them, but when I do, I really enjoy them if they feel brilliant to me. And a few of these did. Overall, this is a 3 out of 5. There were a few that I really loved, a few that I really didn't like, and a lot that fell kind of in the middle. So what I'm going to do, I think, to review this particular collection is just go through each story and kind of what it was and make any comments I have. A lot of them were just fine. I didn't really have any comments on. They were just fine. So let me find the list of stories here. Here's our table of contents. The first story was Hue and Cry, and it is about a girl who becomes obsessed with a sex offender who lives down the street, and her father takes her to meet this guy to learn a bit about forgiveness. It was a 3 out of 5 for me. It was okay. It was kind of strange, and there were things about the end I didn't really love, but I did like how he was portrayed as kind of as scared of them as they were of him because, he'd gotten out of jail and people were not being particularly nice to him with good reason. Just saying. So it was okay. The next book is Le Tristan de Harrisons. Okay, so in this story, a mentally ill couple adopt a hedgehog and project their illness onto him. This is kind of the story that I wanted the book for because on the back it says a couple adopts a depressed hedgehog. And I saw that and I thought, that's got to be a cool story. It was okay. It was a 3 out of 5 for me. It wasn't anything amazing because here's the thing, the hedgehog is probably the sanest person in the story, just saying. The guy and the girl are pretty crazy. So it was interesting and kind of like watching a train wreck interesting, but it wasn't necessarily amazing. The next one is Strings. And this one is about a rabbi a female rabbi who is approached by a former lover needing assistance in putting together a concert. I did remember liking that one quite a bit. It was a 3 out of 5, so it wasn't amazing or incredible, but of the stories in this book, I do remember having a good time with it. The next one is Limerence. It's about a teenage boy who has a crush for a bad girl. And I will say, I did think this one was very humorous and cute. It was still a 3 out of 5. It wasn't amazing, and there were things that didn't work for me, but it wasn't bad. Next is Einstein's Beach House. And I will say this was one of my least favorite stories in here. It's not the absolute least favorite. There was one I liked less, but it was probably the second least favorite I had. And that's sad because that's the one that gives the book its name. But it is about a family who their house is listed as a historical site in an almanac as Einstein's house. And they decide to start giving tours of it to make money because the dad is kind of a schemer, and things don't go well. This leads to bad, terrible things happening. I really didn't find that particular story very satisfying. It was one of those meh for me. It was 3 out of 5. It wasn't terrible, but it was probably my second least favorite story in this book. The next one is The Rod of Asclepius. I don't know what that is, but it is about the child of a serial killer kind of learning who her father is. And that story was actually a 4 out of 5 for me. That was the best story in this book, my absolute favorite. It was a really cool idea. Again, I don't want to give too much away or spoil it, but basically there is a man who is a serial killer, and his daughter realizes this along the way, and it was really interesting. I had a good time with that one. That was a real well done story. The next one is Sharing the Hostage. A ventriloquist helps his girlfriend steal a tortoise she is in a custody battle over. And this was a 3 out of 5 for me. It wasn't terrible. It was kind of funny. It was definitely weird. I didn't like the guy. He was kind of a jerk and kind of jealous of this tortoise, which was weird. But, you know, it wasn't bad. There's so many people in this book that have mental problems. And I would say that anybody who's going to steal a tortoise does. It definitely had some humorous moments. Again, not my favorite, but not bad. And the last one, Paracosmos. Now, this one was actually my least favorite story in the book, and it was a 2 out of 5 for me. So, explaining it's a little bit hard, but I'm going to give it a try. There is a woman named Leslie whose daughter has an imaginary friend named Lauren. They are worried that Lauren is keeping her from making real friends, so they tell her she can't play with Lauren anymore. Well, then a man shows up claiming that he is Lauren's father and begging them to let their daughter play with Lauren again. And the mom, Leslie, starts having an affair with this man. It was really just strange. I didn't have a good time with this one. It didn't make a lot of sense, and there was no real explanation at the end of how this is all possible, or if it's not, or if she's having a mental breakdown. I don't know. I didn't get it. So that last story, of all the stories I really liked the least, it didn't do it for me. Overall, though, not a bad short story collection. Again, I'm not huge into short stories, but I enjoyed most of these. The serial killer one especially I thought was brilliant. Some of the others I enjoyed reading. They were fine. They weren't necessarily anything super memorable, but I had a good time. So yeah, thank you, author, for sending this to me. If anybody thinks those stories sound interesting, pick it up. It's worth a read. All right, guys, my social media is below. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.